Hello everyone and welcome to today's TELedvisors webinar. We're looking at the support sites that we're offering in a number of our institutions. We have three guests with us today. We have Danny Liu from University of Sydney, we have Jamie Fulcher from Monash, and we have Simone Paulson from Griffith. So we're going to start with Danny Liu. Over to you, Danny.
Cool. So I'm from the Education Innovation team at the University of Sydney. It's kind of like the Learning and Teaching Centre or the Innovation Hub or whatever they call these central learning and teaching units at universities. I'm an academic developer there, and I guess I do the whole range from curriculum design all the way down to LMS hacking and programming and that kind of stuff. And so anything that's vaguely helping out academics to do learning and teaching better, that's I guess my day and night job, as with all of us. So I'm just going to talk through. I'll try to share my screen. You can still hear me and see my screen?
Yep.
Good. Okay. So I'm just Colin asked me to talk through this blog that we have going called Teaching at Sydney, and Teaching at Sydney is kind of like it's essentially a learning and teaching blog which people across the university are encouraged to contribute to. It was heavily based off this blog from Macquarie University where I used to work. So Teach was a fantastic blog running at Macquarie University, where they also got a bunch of people from faculties to contribute articles, and it was just generally a very fun, informative, very practical blog, which was based around, you can see, sometimes there were leadership reports from Senate, there were ideas around learning innovation, around technologies, and iLearn is their Moodle instance, and events and upcoming workshops and those kind of things. And also they also had this interesting section called Water Cooler, which was just about random things like, animals seen on campus, or fun tidbits that just keeps things light. And so coming from Macquarie, I thought, Teach is a fantastic initiative, and so I wanted to try and replicate something like that at Sydney. Now, the Sydney approach before was also the Central Learning and Teaching units before at Sydney also had a kind of a newsletter that was sent out monthly, but it was mainly curated by the central portfolio. And what it looks like is, well, what it used to look like is essentially this. So you would have the month, and then you would have a bunch of articles down here that you could then expand, and it was just essentially just a repository of information and links to other places. And so we wanted to kind of make this much more dynamic, much more engaging, and also really invite contributions from the wider university. And so the approach that we took was similar to one at Macquarie. We went to WordPress, and we thought, WordPress can make this snazzy. We can break out of the official university branding, official university, I guess, approach to managing its intranet and internet sites, and allow us much more dynamic flexibility and visual appeal, I guess. And so this is our current WordPress site, which is just, unfortunately, has this quite ugly URL on it. But essentially, it's modeled, I guess, off the Macquarie one in a way, and also some of the other blogs from around the world, like the Edinburgh one, and also the new one at UTS. And the idea here is, again, news and events, but really focusing on kind of practical applications of technologies and pedagogy to learning and teaching at university. And so just a few of the ones you see here flashing across the screen, how to do interactive polls for lectures, an upcoming curriculum software that's being rolled out across the university. We're moving to Canvas over the next 12 months, and so a lot of it has been on these are some Canvas sites, come and look at them and those kind of things. And so a lot of these articles here, a lot of these articles have been written or shared from the university, wider university itself. And so Jess is part of our team here. This is me. Amani's part of our team here. But as we scroll down, you start to see, Rebecca is from engineering. She's a designer from engineering. Jonathan's a PhD student who wrote this interesting, slightly esoteric article about lessons of work of art. Sasha is from health sciences. Anna is from our central team. We've got a few Amani. Ying is a master's student from education. So as we go through, you can kind of see a lot of the articles are written by our central team, but we do try and encourage people to contribute from the wider university as well. And so I guess our aim here is to collect stories and news and good examples of what people are doing. So as a quick example here, we have this, because we're moving to Canvas and people are quite confused about what Canvas can actually do. And so we thought maybe we can put up a kind of like an open house for Canvas. And so this article here, for example, is a bunch of Canvas unit websites, which the coordinators have said, yes, come in and have a look. And so we've essentially posted examples of good practice from around the university. So I think our remit largely is to be a platform which allows people to share their practice, allows us to be able to surface good practice so people can see. We all know as TELedvisors that academics typically only listen to other academics. And so one of the major points, I guess, of us doing this is to show academics what other academics are doing and show professional staff what is being done around the university and help them to kind of get inspired and create this way. Yeah, so I mean, it's a public site, which is also quite nice. The university is moving a lot of its content to the intranet, which personally I don't quite agree with. Maybe I can't say that. Oh, we're being recorded, aren't we? Damn. So this public-facing site actually allows us to surface a lot of our content and ideas public-facing, which is quite neat for the university and also the wider community. If we have a look at the, so I've got a quick Google Analytics view here, and so we typically, this peak over here, that's when we did our mail out. So we have about 5,000 odd subscribers on our mailing list. And so every month or so, we put together maybe 6, 7, 10 articles from the blog, and we put that out as a mail out. And so this mail out went yesterday, and so you can see that there were 1,100 page view just from yesterday's mail out, and you can see a lot of more information here about what the things are. And so obviously, because Canvas is a big thing coming up, we've got a lot of Canvas clicks and lots of interest on video production and curriculum mapping and those kind of things. So it's quite encouraging to see when we compare these hit rates and click counts to the staff news that goes out to 8,000 university staff. These numbers are actually quite comparable to staff news, which is the official university general news mail out. And so it's quite encouraging that people are interested enough in learning and teaching and interested enough in seeing other people do good learning and teaching that they want to actually look at it, I guess. I think that's kind of all I had in terms of intro, unless there are any questions. Should I flick back to the chat and see what's happening in the...
I think everyone's just really enjoying the site so far. Yeah, I think that looks fantastic, and I particularly like the idea of the open houses. I guess one question I've got with that is, are these backups of the... Are students in these course sites that people are able to pop into, or are they sort of backups?
Yeah, so the open sites are actually, where are they? The open sites are actually clones at about week 4, at the point in week 4, and so there's no students involved, and we get around privacy issues that way. And Canvas allows you to set or specify a setting which allows any person with an institutional login to access that site, and so that's the setting that we set.
Okay. So I have a question from Penny asking how you encourage contributions, especially from people outside the central unit.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've got this how to contribute page, which tells people how to actually the whole process. It looks complex, but really it's just, think about something and put something on WordPress, log in with your uni key, and then press submit for review. The way that we encourage people is really when the central team goes out and visits faculties, when we go to learning and teaching seminars or meetings, we try and encourage our team to pick up on good practice, and then just either, as an aside after the meeting or an email or something, to say, hey, I noticed that great thing you did. We'd love to focus on this in our next issue of Teaching in Sydney. Would you like either us to do a quick interview via Google Drive or something for you, or come and chat to you, or would you want to write something yourself? And so it's really about being proactive and getting the news out there that people are welcome to do this. We also have Yammer, which is the Microsoft kind of social network for organizations. And on Yammer, we are quite purposive in trying to encourage people to contribute as well.
In relation to that, sorry, this is Chia. I can't seem to type for some reason, so I'm just going to throw my question. But in relation to the question that Penny just raised, did you find that all the faculties or colleges that you have also have their own sites, and sometimes that could be a potential tension from the website?
It's an interesting question, because with marketing's push to move everything onto the intranet, they've actually had a big review of how many sites like that there can be, and they've actually decided that most of those faculty-based sites are going to be killed off. And so for engineering, for example, engineering have actually more recently moved their, I wonder if I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's this. Engineering have more recently, it's not that, more recently moved their learning and teaching site onto Teaching at Sydney as a sub-page. And so political movements around the university have forced people to think more creatively about how to put content online.
Great, thank you.
Now, so Sue asked if someone vets or approves the content.
Yeah. So we have a contact page. We have a, no, it's not this one. What is Teaching Sydney? We have an editorial team. So in the editorial team, these three are the editors, and so I guess I'm the main editor. And we have a kind of a set of rules that we've approved with our director, which we have to move through for every article. And so there's things like, if it mentions other universities or if it's slightly controversial, then we should run it up the flagpole a bit. But for the most part, these editors have editorial control over what goes on.
Cool. And I just had one question. So you mentioned you'd gone to WordPress as a way of having a slightly funkier look and feel than the standard Sydney Uni one. Did you have any pushback from marketing or branding kind of people in the institution?
Interestingly enough, not so much. I think they recognised that. So there's a few things. I think they recognised that this was a kind of an institutional thing, but it was kind of para to the institution. The other thing is our web guy has quite a good relationship with the Marcoms people, and so he was able to, for example, all these fonts and the color scheme and everything matches branding, and so because we're able to do that, they were fairly happy with the I guess the styling of the page.
That's great. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah, I agree. Forgiveness, not permission, is definitely when it comes to marketing.
All right. Well, I might keep things moving along now. So thank you very much, Danny.
Great.
I really like this site, and that was kind of one of the reasons that I sort of suggested this as a topic in the first place. So no, I appreciate that.
Thanks.